Welcome back to another episode of Dom's Day Off. So today's episode is about all my favorite vocal health tips, all my favorite things to do when maybe I'm sick, I'm singing for a very long time, or just in general tips on taking care of her, the little voice box. We love her. She does a lot. She makes us some money. We wish she made us more. Let's not go into that. We're beefing at the moment. No. You can tell that it's somewhat genetic, which is really awesome. If you have a musical family, you can hear the generational vocal strength and sound, which is really awesome. If you don't, God accidentally spilt the talent cup, you know? He was like, oh, let's make you beautiful. A little bit of that, a little splash of humor. And then on the talent, he was like, oh no, just spilled, all of it. I know what you might be thinking. Dominique, why should I listen to you? Of all people, why am I on this video listening to a 24-year-old girl? Well, here are my credentials. Like most singers, not all of them, but most of them, I have been singing my whole life. And I have done classical training, musical theater training, contemporary training, jazz training for the most part. Mostly theater and jazz, right? Not only that, I have won some awards. I've lost competitions, but I was in them. So I studied classically, I think from 6th grade to 8th grade. High school, I studied somewhat kind of classical, but also theater, old theater, and also cabaret. And then in college, I studied jazz for 4 years. And now I just am self-teaching everything, which is fun. If you're out of college, you definitely know what I'm talking about. If you're a musician out of college or just out of college in general, you're like, oh, now it's time to teach myself how to do everything and live. I've studied with a lot of really great vocal teachers as well. My dad is also a singer. First place to start on this is it really depends on the situation. If you are just sick, girl, if you are just really, don't sing. But if you have to, know that sometimes it's a mental game. And a lot of things with the voice is very mental. There has been many shows that I have sang sick, partially due to either stress or due to some kind of illness. And sometimes you just can't cancel. And sometimes you can, but I usually won't. I have suffered through some crazy shows where people wouldn't even know that I was sick, actually. That's not necessarily a good thing because you don't want to be straining, and that's the most vulnerable state you could be in. And it's not fun. It's not fun at all because you just want to give your best performance and you want to focus on the story, but instead you're focusing on your technique and being careful, making it sound like you're not sick rather than focusing on the art of it all. But it happens, it happens to everybody. So here are my best tips. First thing, water. If you're not really a water drinker, there's a lot of solutions to that. Some kind of alternative beverage. I don't know. There's this white cranberry juice. It has 100% vitamin C in it. And that's why I like to mix that with a lot of water. It's also very strong. It honestly could be a mixer, a drink mixer. And I know what you're thinking, Dominique, that's so sugary, da-da-da-da. I don't have it all day. I have maybe one a day, and basically I just mix it with the water, and it's just a little juice drink, vitamin C, double whammy. Find some kind of alternative that works for you. That's what I like to do. And they're really cheap. They're Ocean Spray, I think it's called, the brand. I don't get regular cranberry juice. I get white cranberry. For some reason, there's a difference to me. There's a peach flavor. There's a strawberry flavor. It's fun. It's very fun. My life is adventurous. It's almost an alcoholic drink without the alcohol, and I just replace it with water. That's me adulting in a nutshell. They say only 5% or maybe less than that, probably a lot less than that, of the water that you drink goes to your vocal folds, and that's kind of tragic. We don't want her to be dry because then it can, when they're phonating, it's just going to be painful. Second thing, everybody knows tea, herbal tea, not caffeinated tea. I also drink coffee every morning, no matter what, non-negotiable. I have to have my non-negotiable coffee, my Nespresso, my one shot of espresso. I was at a competition one time and every single one of the singers was getting tea. And now this is probably at every single competition I've ever been to. Everybody has tea, whatever. But at this one, everybody was drinking caffeinated tea, and they didn't realize that that's actually going to probably dehydrate you because it's caffeinated. So caffeine, like maybe don't have it right before you sing. Maybe have it like in the morning if you're singing later in the day. That's what I do. And if I know I'm going to be singing, I really like to buy Pedialyte, which is like basically like a kid's drink. I don't buy the drink form. They have like a powder form, almost like some of those like hydration packets. People take it for like traveling to get electrolytes and stuff. If after the gig I'm feeling like really tired or dehydrated or whatever, I'll have that. Or even before, I can like have some of that. My number 3 is probably like working out and like taking care of your body. Singing is like working out in and of itself. You're an athlete. Many vocal teachers have told me like you're an athlete when you're a vocalist because you're working muscle and you're performing. So how you take care of your body definitely reflects that. And I'm not saying like you have to run every day and blah, 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 blah. Just to an extent that you feel healthy. When I run more often, I find that I have more breath support or better resistance. I actually have asthma. That doesn't really affect my singing very much, but in certain environments, if it's like kind of smoky or if it's kind of like dry or dusty, that can really affect my singing. And so when I run more often, I have more resistance, a stronger sound, actually. My number 4 would probably be, sometimes it's how you sing rather than all the things you can do to try to sound better. You can take as many supplements and water and blah, 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 blah as you want. But sometimes if you're not singing with the proper technique and you're singing for 5 hours, you're going to just damage your voice. So you have to think about like, what's the safest way for me to do this? Because I've had gigs that were 5 hours, and I know people that have been injured on like those types of gigs and stuff because it is challenging. It's not a walk in the park. So my like non-negotiable is if I have a gig longer than like 3 hours or 4 hours, I'm just not going to talk like after or before. I get like really cranky because it's kind of painful. Like if you're constantly talking, it's not like painful, but like you can feel that your vocal cords are like, all right, girl, like let's shut up. I mean, I'll talk to like the audience or if there is an audience or the crowd. But as soon as I leave, that's what I'm saying. Like as soon as I'm gone, not speaking. My number 1 thing after that to like double down is take the longest nap or sleep ever and be a big baby. Essentially, taking care of your voice is like being a big baby. When I was in college, I was going out to parties all the time, continuously like straining my voice and screaming. My voice sounded completely different. Like even just my talking voice was so hoarse. And actually, I believe that kind of strengthened my voice in a way, kind of. I know that's probably not professional opinion. Don't do that to your voice. I don't recommend going and screaming at parties. I don't recommend that, but I did that. I was like a freshman in college and I didn't know what I wanted to do. Once I completely cut out the partying, started taking singing very seriously, I noticed a huge difference in my singing. I was sleeping more. I was hydrating more. I wasn't putting my voice in any particular like situations where people could not hear me, so I had to scream. And like things like that, just being mindful of like your environments. Do I want to overexert myself just to have a conversation? That stuff kind of it happens all the time. Another thing is like making sure like on the gig, even that environment is suitable to your vocal technique, because I have been too low, turned down in the mix or whatever, and I have to scream in order to be heard. And there's been times where I've been way too loud and I'm not singing properly because I have to like pull back. I'd obviously rather be too loud than too little because you can pull the mic away. It won't destroy you. It won't kill you, but, not the healthiest. We're talking about health tips. I love a good warm-up for sure. I need a good warm-up. And honestly, I feel like the older I get, the longer it takes for my voice to warm up. I don't know if that's just me, but I've noticed that. It used to take me like maybe a little 5-minute warm-up and I was like, I'm warm, I'm good, I can sing, whatever. Now it's like I need a good 10, 15 minutes, maybe more. I have a couple of videos that I like to listen to before a gig in the car maybe, or just play, and they're just little tones that this guy plays and I just sing what he says. I would make my own tracks if I was cool enough, but I don't have that and I won't be doing that. I listened to this guy's tracks and they're actually really good. So I'm going to put them in the description below. Check those out if you want a good warm up. I also change up the syllables on them. Cool downs. Now, this is like a hot take. I am not a cool downer. For me, the cool down is like shutting up. I don't know. Personal preference. I don't really do a cool down. My cool down is taking a big sleep. Like, you know, but there's probably a reason for it and like a science behind it. Also, another thing, I'm not big on the straws. I tried the straw thing. I don't know what it is about it. I'm a big lip triller. I really like that. The reason behind it, it's like supporting your vocal cords because the breath is going backwards and behind, which I really like. And I really like the feeling of that because it's very supported and kind of effortless feeling. And I might do a little lip trills on my cool down on my ride home just to see if everything's in order. And that's maybe my cool down is doing a little lip trills in the car. Grether's pastilles, I have tried those. Anyone else? Literally everybody on this podcast. No, I'm just kidding. Which are good. They're okay. I haven't noticed like a huge like, whoa, I can really sing. Like, but I've noticed that they're very expensive. That's what I've noticed. They're expensive. They are kind of hard. Like, they're chewy, but they're hard. I probably won't buy them again. I also had these Manuka honey drops, which were very good. And they were recommended by a musical theater, like Broadway singer. I'll put them in my Amazon storefront. They're like green. I remember they were really good. I would recommend Throat Coat, obviously, tea, which is, you know, a very distinct taste. But I like to actually mix it with other herbal teas. So like I'll put a Throat Coat and then I'll put maybe like a raspberry tea. So that way it's kind of like, oh, this is interesting and different and exciting. And obviously honey. And I'll just put that in a nice little Yeti. Also another tip, I put like a metal straw and actually that helps it sort of not be like scalding hot. It like the metal like holds all the heat. So that's another little tip of mine. Cough drops. Halls has a brand, they have like a version that's like all vitamin C, and it's like a green, I have it somewhere. These ones are the ones. They're the immune system defense, vitamin C. Now, I don't necessarily recommend this for like right before singing. After singing, they're great. And maybe a couple hours before, if you know that you're going to like a very crowded environment, because it's vitamin C, like, you're not going to get sick. You feel better kind of about going into a very large area with a bunch of people. And this has no menthol, which is great, as far as I know. No menthol. Very simple ingredients in here. But yeah, it's like 150% daily value of vitamin C. Oh, yeah. We're not getting sick. We're just getting started. In terms of steaming, I love to take a shower and just do some lip trills in the shower. I do also have a steamer, but I only really use that when I'm sick. Using peppermint oil also kind of helps if you put it in the shower, or some eucalyptus in the shower if you're sick. That really helps to like open up your passageways if you really need to sing. I actually used to humidify my room every night, and then it just got to a point where like I didn't want to keep up with it. So I don't currently humidify my room, but I did for a very, very long time. If you're dealing with any allergies, or maybe you just want a little extra, you know, protection for your voice, I think that a humidifier is a great option. And then also like an air purifier. I have an air purifier going 24/7 because I have a lot of allergies, specifically to like dust, and like I said, I have asthma. An air purifier, definitely a great investment. Ooh, my final thing. I learned this from Ariana Grande. Bromelain is a supplement that is an enzyme from pineapples that actually has a lot of healing properties. A lot of people take it after surgeries to heal, but it specifically has healing properties that have to do with the throat. Try some bromelain. If I really, really just, I'm like, my voice is shot, I'll take a little like bromelain supplement. I have a bunch, but don't take too much. I made that mistake and was like crapping my pants. So, but yeah, also like take your vitamins, take your daily vitamins, just take care of yourself. And I think I'm going to do another video on just like vocal technique and like vocal warm up stuff. But yeah, I hope this was helpful. If you're interested in joining our newsletter, I'm going to have new podcasts coming out. So please sign up for the newsletter and please check out the stuff in the description because there's a lot of helpful things that I talked about in this video. Also, please comment any other topics you want me to talk about. Probably have a part 2 on this if I come up with any more things to say. I tried to squeeze as much information as I could, but I definitely probably forgot some stuff. Anyways, thank you so much for listening. All right, dog. Peace out.